Again in 1976, Obasanjo, as part of bringing the Hausa Fulani nation at par with the Yoruba nation educationally, he ensured that the University of Ife, let me tell you one thing about the University of Ife. The language that was designed for education at that school was Yoruba. That was the most beautiful. You see, that was the second university in the entire Africa. The first university, I think, was in Egypt, which was established before Jesus Christ was born. The University of Ibadan was just an annex of University of London, I think. But the first university that was set up within the Yoruba nation, established by the Yoruba people, was the University of Ife. Obasanjo took it over. He centralized the admission process. That university belonged to Yoruba nation. That should be the best university. When you are talking about Oxford University, by the time you mention Harvard University, the next university should be University of Ife. But this horrible.
Akí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ àpàdà sórí ìkànnì Yorùbá Space TV níbi tá ti máa ń mọ àwọn ètò àti ìròyìn wá fún yín lólókò òjọ̀kan gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ káàkiri Nàìjíríà pàápàá nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ti wá. Ẹ wò tó bá jẹ́ ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ tí yín rè lórí ìkànnì yìí ẹ bá wa subscribe ẹ sì má gbàgbé láti tẹ button kékeré tó dàbí aago yẹn tí yóò máa ta yín lóko nínú ìgbà tá bá ti mú fídíò tuntun wá síta. Ẹ wò èyí tá tún fún wa fún yín lónìí àrà ọ̀tọ̀ ni ó yá ẹ wá lọ bó ṣe ń lọ. In
1976, there was what is called Western Nigerian Marketing Board, which was particularly promoting cocoa farmers. This marketing board was abolished. Let me tell you one beautiful thing this marketing board did. You see, around cocoa farmers here, under the regional government we had, Awolowo ma fún wọn ní farm implements, ó ma fún wọn ní seedlings, ó ma kó tractor fún wọn, ó ma kó oríṣiríṣi fún wọn, ó tún fún wọn ní ilé ọ̀fẹ́. Gbogbo oúnjẹ tí Yorùbá ń jẹ pátápátá under regional government, èrú wà tó wà lókè Ògùn, part of Oyo state, nothing ṣe oúnjẹ yẹn. We had farm settlement. Yorùbá ò ever rely lórí Hausa ká tó jẹun. Sórí 1951-52 ni Awólọ́wọ̀ ti ń lo wind farm tó ń fi winds generate electricity ní Èrúwà, ibẹ̀ ló kọ́ farm settlement fún Yorùbá fún ibi tí wọ́n fi ń produce oúnjẹ tí Yorùbá ń jẹ. Gbogbo ẹ̀ la Ọbásanjọ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ Yorùbá. I'm talking about the cocoa marketing board. Nǹkan tí Awólọ́wọ̀ ṣe under the cocoa marketing board ni pé sórí ìgbà tí cocoa jẹ́ bóyá bí 15 naira per kilogram ní international market. Awólọ́wọ̀ through the cocoa marketing board ó máa ra cocoa yẹn lọ́wọ́ àwọn cocoa farmers wa. Ó fún wọn nílé ọ̀fẹ́, ó fún wọn ní farm implement ọ̀fẹ́, seedling ọ̀fẹ́. Á wá ra cocoa yẹn ní 12 naira. Á wá ta 12 naira yẹn, á wá ta ní international market ní 15 naira. So the Western Nigeria again 3 naira. Àwọn cocoa farmer tó nílé ọ̀fẹ́, tó ní sí farm implement ọ̀fẹ́, wọ́n again àwọn cocoa farmers yẹn make owó, òun la fi ń túnlẹ̀ Yorùbá ṣe. Nígbà yẹn owó kòkó l'Ọ̀ṣun, owó kòkó l'Oǹdó, owó kòkó l'Èkìtì la fi kọ́ industrial estate s'Èkó, Àpápá, Ìlúpéjú industrial estate, Olúyọ̀lé n'Ìbàdàn industrial estate. Owó kòkó àwọn Yorùbá tó wà l'Èkìtì, tó wà l'Oǹdó, tó wà l'Ọ̀ṣun.
Tó lọ́mọ alágbèjì lòun ní kọ̀rọ̀, tó lọ́mọ àìkúrò ní gbangba tí Tinubu ń claim kò ní gbangba. Kí ló jẹ́ ọ̀fọ̀sùn lọ́rùn lẹ̀? Tinubu lọ́yàn bolú, olóyàn bá fẹ̀, gbogbo ọba tó jẹ lọ́sùn wọ́n dà Tinubu mọ́ wà. Tinubu làbá mọ́ ìpè ní bàbá Yorùbá lórí èkì lórí ìmọ̀ta ẹnìkan. Fọ́jọ́ kọ̀ọ̀rọ̀ mi ó kò tó rárá ń ta mí.
Nǹkan tó máa wá ṣe ni pé ó máa wá kíìpù èyí tó ti ra yẹn, ó máa fi sí storage tí international market price kò máa fi increase. Nǹkan tí cocoa marketing board ń ṣe nìyẹn. Nǹkan tá yí àwọn àgbẹ̀ wa fi dá nìyẹn. Nǹkan tá fi ní cocoa house nìyẹn. Nǹkan tá fi ní Liberty Stadium nìyẹn. Nǹkan tá fi ní WNTV station nìyẹn. Nǹkan tá fi ṣe free education nìyẹn. Owó kòkó ni Ọbásanjọ́ target ó abolish cocoa marketing board. Ó fẹ́ báyé Yorùbá jẹ́. Ọlọ́run Lédùmarè, Ọlọ́run tó lọ lọ́jọ́ èní, ó máa báyé man yẹn jẹ́ ni. Man yẹn ò ní ṣàǹfààní fúnra rẹ̀. Because we had a generation that is study gbogbo báyé Yorùbá ti bàjẹ́, and if a change because of history. So this man is the enemy within. I am going to tell you one thing. Tó bá jẹ́ pé Ọbásanjọ́ jẹ́ òyìnbó ni, tó bá jẹ́ pé white American ló wà, tó jẹ́, tó dẹ̀ ń gba America, tó dẹ̀ wà in position of power, tó dẹ̀ ń ba ayé white Americans jẹ́, àwọn white Americans á ti pa, wọn ò ní waste time. Tó bá jẹ́ pé Obasanjo jẹ́ English ni, tó wà in position of power in England, tó dẹ̀ ń ba ayé àwọn English jẹ́, believe you me, àwọn English á ti pa tipẹ́tipẹ́, kò ní survive. But nítorí pé àwọn Yorùbá yìí to go, our very very gullible, ni máa ẹ ṣe survive dè ní. Tó bá jẹ́ pé òyìnbó ni kò ní survive pẹ̀lú gbogbo atrocity tó ṣe fún Yorùbá. So nǹkan tó ṣe fún wa lórí Gbogbo marketing board nìyẹn, ó bàjẹ́. So wọn ibi kan wà tí wọ́n ní Ìbàdàn tó ń pè ní Lafian Canning Company lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ hòtẹ́ẹ̀lì kan báyìí tó wà níbi àpáta gàngà yẹn. Ibi tí wọ́n ti ń produce gbogbo juice town mu nìyẹn in the 50s, 60s. Ọbásanjọ́ bayé gbogbo ẹ̀jẹ̀. Cement tí Yorùbá ń ṣe ewékòrò, Ọbásanjọ́ ta fáwọn Gàmbàrí. Ó ta fáwọn Gàmbàrí nǹkan tí Awólọ́wọ̀ ṣe. Wind farm tí wọ́n fi winds tó ti generate electricity la fi ń build the farm settlement wa ní Èrúwà bí mo ṣe sọ. Nígbà tó Ọbásanjọ́ padà wá ní second time tó di civilian president. Nígbà yẹn ló fún contract Andrew Young l'America black man ló fún contract kó wá máa ṣe wind farm. Nǹkan tó Ọbásanjọ́ tí Awólọ́wọ̀ ti ń ṣe láti 1950s. Nǹkan tí Yorùbá fi ń generate electricity láti 1950s. Tó Ọbásanjọ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ wa tó bàjẹ́. Ayé man yẹn ò lè ever dá. Again in 1976, Obasanjo, as part of bringing the Hausa Fulani nation at par with the Yoruba nation educationally, he ensured that the University of Ife. Let me tell you one thing about the University of Ife. The language that was designed for education at that school was Yoruba. That was the most beautiful. You see, that was the second university in the entire Africa. The first university, I think, was in Egypt, which was established before Jesus Christ was born. The University of Ibadan was just an annex of University of London, I think. But the first university that was set up within the Yoruba nation, established by the Yoruba people, was the University of Ife. Obasanjo took it over. He centralized the admission process. That university belonged to Yoruba nation. That should be the best university. When you are talking about Oxford University, by the time you mention Harvard University, the next university should be University of Ife. But this holy call Obasanjo destroyed that school. He destroyed that school. It should be the pride of the Yoruba nation. The best of Yoruba brain should be going to that school. But that school has been destroyed. Nobody wants to go there. Courtesy of Mr. Obasanjo, he ruined the Yoruba nation. And we will ruin him because we are the generation we have been waiting for. So he took over that. There was a decree under the NUC reconstituted decree number 1 of 1976. That was the decree Obasanjo used in taking over that university from us. It centralized the admission process. It destroyed the Yoruba nation. The fabric of our nation, which is education, it destroyed everything. It took over all the teacher training schools, all the secondary school, all the primary school, all the private school in Yoruba land in 1976, and it turned it into federal schools. Completely. It destroyed the education we have had, because that is the only way you can safeguard your own civilization. But he targeted that. He destroyed it. Today, we all know that Yoruba are gullible. How can a Yoruba graduate, you have first degree, a master's degree, some with PhD, they will pick their belongings, head straight to London to go and be washing their toilets, go straight down to America to go and be doing cab driving. Yoruba with education, for that matter. This is what Obasanjo has done to us. This is how Obasanjo has destroyed our nation. So in 1976, again, Mr. Obasanjo nationalized the Liberty Stadium. That was the first stadium in the entire Africa. Liberty Stadium in Ibadan, now Obafemi Awolowo Stadium. Among other things belonging to the government of the Yoruba people, were similarly taken over by the Nigerian authority under Mr. Obasanjo. That belongs to us. Let me remind you. You remember the meeting the Yoruba people had at Ibadan, at Lake Osalami. The Yoruba couldn't even use Liberty Stadium, their own stadium. The stadium that was built with their money. That stadium will have accommodated them, but they have to go and use Adamasinga Stadium. We couldn't even use Liberty Stadium that belongs to us because it has been taken over by the federal government. It was taken over by Obasanjo, who claimed to be Yoruba man. It's not Yoruba man. It's not. So that's why he has always been against the interests and welfare of the Yoruba nation. So we're talking about Buhari today. Everybody is shouting. You will see, I'm going to expose. Under Obasanjo, the Yoruba that were murdered Under his government, when he was president, how many Fulani has been killed under Mr. Buhari? So you continue to condemn Mr. Buhari, a man that is safeguarding and protecting the interests and welfare of his own people. Kò sí èpè tẹ́ lè gbé Buhari ṣe ẹ̀yin Yorùbá. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń pera yín pé Southern Unity Southern. Kò sí nǹkan tẹ́ lè sọ ní búburú lórí Buhari tó máa ṣe mọ́ lára. Ẹni tó ń sin àwọn ọmọ ìlú ẹ̀, ẹni tó ń wá interest àwọn ọmọ ìlú ẹ̀, orí ẹ̀ pé títí ó tún kọ́lé lu train station, ó tún gbé láti Nigeria wọ Niger Republic to serve the interest of the Fulani and Hausa who are in Niger Republic. Ó ń ṣépè fún èpè ò lè ràn. Asasi ò lè mú Buhari, ẹ̀yin láyé yín máa bàjẹ́ until you start thinking about Yoruba nation first. That is where we were going to have greatness. And ṣépè fún Buhari. I'm showing you what Obasanjo, a supposedly Yoruba man, has done against the interest of the Yoruba nation. Is Buhari doing the same thing? Buhari is your role model. Is a role model for the Yoruba youth. This is the man you have to think like. He's thinking about his own people first. Mr. Trump is doing the same thing. Theresa May in England is doing the same thing. Every reasonable, responsible political leader across the world are thinking about the interests and welfare of their people first and foremost. And again in 1976, Obasanjo sought to increase Hausa Fulani local food production by reducing that of the Yoruba nation. And it dabbles extensively into the Yoruba agricultural farm settlement. It took over all our farm settlements in Yoruba land under the fraudulent Operation Feed the Nation. Gbogbo Yoruba youth of my head, ó ti gbàgbé ẹ̀. Obasanjo ló gbé kíní ẹ̀ wá ó pè ní Operation Feed the Nation. Ó fi gba gbogbo farm settlement wa. Torí farm settlement ni Awólọ́wọ̀ dá sílẹ̀ tá ti ń produce oúnjẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ta ló ń depend lórí Fulani láti ra tomato, láti ra ata, láti rẹran. Gbogbo ẹ̀ la nílẹ̀ Yorùbá under farm settlement táwọn èèyàn ṣiṣẹ́ lọ rẹpẹrẹpẹ. Obasanjo came up with Operation Feed the Nation. Ó gba gbogbo farm settlement yẹn lọ́wọ́ wa. Òun ló sọ di Obasanjo farm lẹ́ni. Ayé máa yẹn ò lè dá. Ó máa kò ní ṣàǹfààní. Toro a nation Yorùbá pẹ̀lú civilization wa a dẹ̀ jẹ́ kọ́ ọmọ àtọ̀húnrìn wa ọmọ Igbo because Igbo làwùsá ó dẹ̀ payé Yorùbá jẹ́. Ó destroy Yorùbá completely. He took our farm settlement away from us under the fraudulent Operation Feed the Nation. The Yoruba never depended on the North for food. But since Obasanjo took away the Yoruba farm settlement through its fraudulent Operation Feed the Nation program, Yoruba land has relied on the North for food. Ṣé tomati ni a lè gbìn ni, ewédú la ní ni, cassava la ní ni, àgbàdo la lè gbìn ni, mango la lè gbìn ni tá máa fi ṣe juice wa, ọsàn la lè gbìn ni. Obasanjo gba gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ yín because he was working for the Fulani. Like I said in the beginning, Obasanjo was imposed on us as the head of state of Nigeria on the 13th of February 1976. But like I said, he wasn't the head of state. I'm going to give you the name of the man who was your head of state. He was just a figurehead president, head of state, Obasanjo. Then, now again, I'm talking about the atrocity of Mr. Obasanjo against the Yoruba nation and our people. In 1976, Fela compound, Kalakuta Republic, where he has his family, his band members, and a recording studio. He had a free health clinic in that accommodation. The compound was burned to the ground on February 18, 1977, after 1,000 armed Hausa Fulani soldiers on the instruction of Danjuma, who was working under Obasanjo then. They went into Fela's compound and burned down that house. Obasanjo, he claimed to be Yoruba. How many Fulani under Buhari has his house been burned down? Tell me, how many Fulani? Atiku is a Fulani man. Ribadu is a Fulani man. This guy, Danzuki, is a Fulani. He has been put in house arrest. The only reason Buhari fitimole in 1985, he was the one who went and arrested Buhari and imprisoned him. So one feel Danzuki Jofinle oh, good she burukusi Fulani egbe. That's why Buhari she retaliate. So she pese won. Kò ní pa kí Buhari tó kúrò máa yọ jáde. Ó fi kọ́ ọlọ́gbọ́n ni pé Fulani ò gbọ́dọ̀ dalẹ̀ ara wọn. Olórí burúkú Ọbásanjọ́ under him wọ́n jó compound Fẹlá, wọ́n jó ilé Fẹlá, ilé táwọn family ẹ̀ ń gbé, ilé tí ó ní àwọn banks ẹ̀ ń gbé, ibi tí record studio wà, ibi tó ní hospitals, wọ́n jó under Obasanjo, a Yoruba president, head of state, ló pera ẹ̀, under him. Ayé Fúlàní mélòó náà ti bàjẹ́ under Buhari. In 1978, Fela's mother, Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, was thrown from a third-floor window of Fela Kalakuta Republic House when it was stormed by armed Hausa Fulani military personnel sent there by Danjuma and Obasanjo. Fela's mother lapsed into a coma in February of that year and died on the 13th of April 1978 as a result of her injuries. Under Obasanjo náà ti pa ìyá Fela. Ìyá Fela ló kọ́kọ́ drive car ní Nigeria history. Fela Yoruba ni, olórí burúkú Obasanjo ṣebí Yoruba ló pera ẹ̀. Under his presidency náà ti pa ìyá Fela, olórí burúkú. Fúlàní mélòó ni Buhari ti pa? Fúlàní mélòó ni Buhari ti pa? Nígbà tí Buhari kọ́kọ́ wá 1983, gbogbo àwọn tó tì mọ́lé pátápátá ọmọ Yorùbá ni. Fúlàní mélòó ni Buhari ó ti pa? Olórí burúkú Obasanjo. Under him wọ́n jó ilé Fẹlá, under him wọ́n pa ìyá Fẹlá. Ayé Obasanjo ò lè dá, kò ní kú re, kò dẹ̀ ní ṣàǹfààní. Ibi tó ṣe fúnlẹ̀ Yorùbá, ibi ló máa bá. Ọlọ́run máa lọ́ra ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ tó jẹ́ pé ìyà máa jẹ́ lójú ayé ẹ̀. Olórí burúkú èèyàn ni. A whole nation, one man would have destroyed the future of that nation. Nǹkan tí mo fi encourage Yorùbá, you are too weak, you are too fearful. Religion, Christianity and Islam, ó ti jẹ́ kẹ́ dọ̀dẹ̀. Obasanjo ò lè jẹ́ English, kó commit gbogbo atrocity against the English people. Àwọn English youth á ti pa. Obasanjo cannot be a white American and in America committing all of this same atrocity against the white Americans. White American youth will have since decimated him. But today he's still surviving because the Yoruba you have no clue. You have no sense of history. This hopeless man is still surviving. The man who single-handedly destroyed the civilization of the Yoruba nation. The first thing Mr. Obasanjo did in 1976 was to take over the Yoruba television station and radio station. The Yoruba television station then was called WNTV. He turned the Yoruba television station WNTV into NTA and Radio Nigeria. Look, you have McDonald's everywhere. You have KFC everywhere. You have some banks branches everywhere. These are franchises. McDonald's in America, McDonald's in England, McDonald's in Yoruba, and these are franchises of the McDonald's company. It is not owned by the original McDonald's. The people are using that brand name. NTA belongs to Yoruba Nation. It is our television station. It is the ingenuity of Awolowo that brought about that television station. But that was taken away from the Yoruba Nation by this horrible man called Mr. Obasanjo. He took it away in 1976, shortly after he became the head of state. In any case, it was imposed on the people. You will see the difference between Mr. Buhari and Mr. Obasanjo. Mr. Buhari is a role model. It's a man that Yoruba youth need to emulate in order to think Yoruba first. You will see how Obasanjo destroyed the Yoruba nation. That man should not be alive. Believe you me, it's evil. He brought us to where we are now as a Yoruba people. So in 1976, he took away our television station. When we conducted a research in 2013, we asked Yoruba youth, any ideas about NTA, Nigerian Television Authority? 46% of them have no clue about the fact that that television station belonged to the Yoruba nation, but it was taken away from us. The ingenuity of Awolowo brought about that first television station in Africa. We had television station before France. Recently, when I was listening to Are Ona Kakanfo interview on YouTube, he said that Yoruba were the 4th nation on the planet Earth to have television station. They took away that television station from us and turned it into NTA. Today, all your big brother Nigeria, and South Africa, South Africa, nothing shit. South African television station, we had television station before South Africa. We were the first to have television station in Africa. We have television station before France. But Yoruba cannot run anything as per television station because they have turned us into slaves in our own land. So they took away what belongs to us. That was first thing Obasanjo did in 1976. Now let me go further. In September 1976, Obasanjo introduced universal primary education. They call it UPE. Do you know why he introduced that? Because Hausa Fulani are backward educationally. Also, he wanted to bring Yoruba and Hausa Fulani at par educationally. So he introduced universal primary education, UPE, to bring the Yoruba nation at par with the Hausa Fulani nation. So do you know what he did? Intentionally, he takes over all the Yoruba teachers training colleges, all established secondary schools across Yoruba land, side by side with all primary schools, including established private secondary schools in Yoruba land. And he began to change the curriculum under his central government. He called it universal primary education, which affected the Yoruba education negatively. Obasanjo took away all the Yoruba schools, which was run under the Yoruba regional government. He took away all our teacher training colleges, all secondary school, all primary school, and he introduced universal curriculum. The same curriculum before then, before September 1976, the Yoruba educational system is different from that of the Igbo. It is different from that of the Hausa Fulani. Obasanjo took away all our schools. The Unity School, you shout Unity School across the nation now. These were Yoruba schools taken away from Yoruba people in 1976 by Mr. Obasanjo because he wanted to bring us down. He wanted to bring us to the same level of Hausa Fulani education. So he took over the schools from us and brought about what is called universal primary education, brought about the same curriculum, school curriculum with the Hausa, with the Igbo. And this is when we started having negative impact on our education system. This guy destroyed you. Is Mr. Buhari doing the same thing to his Fulani people? No. Mr. Buhari is thinking about the interest and welfare of his Fulani people. But when this horrible man called Obasanjo was president of Nigeria, it destroyed the Yoruba nation. Fulani, Mr. Buhari, a Fulani man, is building the future for the Fulani nation. After he's gone, the entire Fulani nation will be praising him. But this horrible man called Obasanjo, in fact, this is why we have to be conscious of the fact that who are the people speaking for Yoruba? Because Obasanjo is not Yoruba. I'm going to tell you, everybody knows this is not news. His mother was Yoruba, but his father was Igbo. So he doesn't have the love of the Yoruba nation. He destroyed us, and we will destroy him.